Sabaton are back with a brand new album they've just released. It's called Legends. I tried to do my best Sabaton impersonation, and if you couldn't tell, Legends! Yeah, no, I just don't have it, but that is something that Sabaton absolutely do, because this album is epic as fuck. Not gonna lie. I have listened through it like twice, 3 times in its entirety. Now, obviously, as the singles have come out, I have been absorbing those as they go. And I will admit, some of them I liked a lot, some of them less so. I still think that there is nothing on this album, I think, that quite reaches the highs of some of their other previous ones. I mean, they've got so much material out. It's hilarious. I was trying to scroll through and have a quick get a kind of like headspace for their discography, and my god, they've released so many like variations of albums over the year. Like they did so The Last Stand is an absolute banger of an album. That album is just like almost every track on the album is amazing. The Last Stand is the song that got me into them, and I stand by that. Songs like The Last Stand, Blood of Back and Burn, maybe even Sparta, I think that Legends, in a nutshell, doesn't ever quite reach the highs of those specific tracks, but what it does do is have a way more consistent and interesting arc, I think. But if you compare it to albums like The Great War, which, again, actually is also pretty consistent, I think The Great War is maybe my favourite of their albums, but just look at the amount of variations. We've got The Great War in 2019, then they released The Great War, the history version, which apparently is a like documentary style version of it, where there's like spoken word, like this sort of like introduction, this historical narration in between the tracks to try and give you context for everything. Because the cool thing about Sabaton is pretty much everything they sing about is based on something real from history, which is, I'm sure there are other bands that have done this, but no one that I am aware of has done. And they also released The Great War, the soundtrack to The Great War. I'm not gonna lie, I actually don't know what the version of that one is or why, but cool. Then a couple of live albums, and then we had The War to End All Wars, which is pretty good. I like that one less, I will admit. I didn't give it loads of time, but then they released that one with a history edition and a symphonic edition, and then they released Heroes of the Great War and Stories from the Western Front, and these were compilations of songs from both The Great War and The War to End All Wars. God, I've said war a lot in the last minute. They're pretty good at getting their money's worth out for the material they're releasing. Good for them, to be honest. Even though I will say, I think my favourite song that they've released in the last while is Metal Trilogy, and I'm not even sure if that one is attached. Is that attached to an album? If it is, I don't know what it is. Either way, Sabaton are great, and they have got a very unique spin, but this album, Legends, is kind of interesting, because it's going back to not being so monothematic. So obviously with The Great War and The War to End All Wars, you can guess what they're about, right? It's World Wars 1 and 2, so each one is focused on a sort of story that is very specific to those settings, right? But they're all within that thing. This one, on the other hand, Legends, as its title might suggest, is a very eclectic set of really interesting people from history, some of which I had heard of before, some of which I will admit I hadn't heard of until I looked it up. So the track listing is kind of interesting. We've got Templars, which we've already seen, that had a music video, which I thought was quite good. That song was pretty good. It's just the music video, the thing that pissed me off more than anything is that there's a lot of battling going on, because it's Templars, is about the Knight Templar. That makes sense, but there is so much hacking and slashing soundtrack noise in the background. There's too much battle noises to the point where it actually really distracted me from the song. Then we had Hordes of the Khan, which again you can probably guess is Genghis Khan. Great weird nightmare. I was going to say Nightmare on Elm Street or Nightmare Before Christmas. Where did I get that from? Nightmare at the Museum? Night at the Museum. That one's kind of quite an interesting music video. Song's okay, I like it, but yeah, okay, so we've got your Genghis Khan one, and then we move on to ones that have only been out since the album. So A Tiger Amongst Dragons is track number 3, and that is about Lu Bu, who I have never heard of. He is a fearsome Chinese warlord from the Three Kingdoms era, famed for his unmatched combat skill. Sounds about right. Then we had Crossing the Rubicon, which came out quite recently. Julius Caesar. Love that one. It's got a fantastic key change in it. Just, oh, man. Just do yourself a favor. If you're going to listen to one, if you like that kind of stuff, it's the kind of thing that makes all your hairs stand up on end when it hits that last one, that last key change. Then we have Got I Emperor, which is a song we're going to delve into more specifically today, because that one is the one that has just released a music video too, which I haven't seen yet. So that one's about Napoleon, of course. It makes sense. So we'll jump into that one in a second. Then we have Made of Steel, which is about Joan of Arc. Impaler, you can probably guess what that one's about. Lightning at the Gates, which is about Hannibal, which are kind of cool. Crossing the Alps. The Duelist, Miyamoto. Miyamoto Musashi, I think that's right. Legendary Japanese swordsman and philosopher known for his Book of Five Rings. Kind of cool. Cycle of Songs, which is about Pharaoh Sun Serut. God damn it, they don't make this easy for me. The third. And finally, Till Sega, which is about King Gustaf, which is a Swedish king, which is interesting because that one apparently has got lyrics that are actually in Swedish, which is quite rare. I looked into how many other songs of Sabaton's have actually got Swedish lyrics. So their album Carolus Rex, that was from 2012, they actually released the entire thing in Swedish as well, which is kind of cool. It's the only Sabaton album that is entirely in Swedish. Now, other than that, there's a couple of bonus editions of Bismarck's got a digital release of Swedish. Same with Livgardet. Which was released actually in Swedish first and then came out afterwards in English, and now we've got this one. So yeah, kind of interesting, the sort of subject matter. I like how eclectic it all is, and I will say this is not a full album review. I've only listened to it a couple of times, so after seeing this video, if you guys want, let me know in the comments below if you'd like me to go more in depth, and I'll really study and listen to this album enough to give you a full, proper, comprehensive review. But in wider, broader terms, based on my current couple of listens through, I will say that I feel like the songs themselves are slower and more thoughtful than some of the other songs. This is what I was going for. So whilst I don't think it hits some of the highs that Sabaton have done in the past, I think as a complete work of art, as a sort of like, I don't know, a sort of, yeah, historical speed through time with different kind of interesting themes that are kind of appropriate for each song and their subject matter. I think it's actually really cleverly written. It's got some more thoughtful lyrics in it, and interestingly, so I'm just not even going to attempt to say the names. I do not speak Swedish. I'll just end up coming off offensive. But as far as I'm aware, the founding members of this band that are still active are the singer and the bassist, and they have been the predominant songwriters up until this point, and the other guys in the band, the guitarist, the drummer, etc., have been there for a while now. They've worked on the last sort of 3 to 4 albums, but apparently in this one, they had a much bigger say in the songwriting, which I think is actually noticeable. It really does have like a tangible effect on the songs. They feel more, I don't know, open maybe is where I'm going for with that one. They're more concise, they're more clever, which I think is definitely a step in the right direction. It's kind of interesting to see a band like Sabaton evolve their musical style this late into their career, because they are absolutely legends within their industry. I mean, power metal is a up-and-coming genre still. I have noticed, I feel like more power metal bands are appearing every day. All you have to do is shake the tree that is Nuclear Blast Records or Napalm Records or another record label that's got some sort of bombastic name, and some other crazy, power metal band will fall out. And I'm here for it. It's a fun genre. I like that it's kind of like getting this sort of wave of interest in it, but Sabaton have been there from the beginning. Well, maybe not from the beginning, but they've been there as long as I've been aware of it as a genre, and I feel like they are, right up there in terms of legendary status, repping that fantastic Swedish music scene. So, it's kind of interesting to see that this far into their career, they're still innovating not just their subject matter, but actually the approach they have to writing the songs. I think it shows. Again, very broadly, the production is excellent. Backing vocals are fantastic. The lead singer's voice is absolutely a linchpin of this band. He is so fucking epic. It's insane. And able to rock that haircut at this point in your life and still look like a badass, you get my respect. So his voice is fantastic. The production across the entire thing is great. The guitar solos are, whilst less shreddy and fast than sometimes, they're still more measured out. They're thoughtful. They're very appropriate. I like them a lot. On my quick listen through of this album, I will say that the one that actually picked me up the most out of songs I hadn't heard already yet was The Duelist, actually. So, I don't know, it's got a very, very catchy chorus. It reminds me... I don't know, you'll have to listen to this and tell me whether I'm insane or not, but it really reminds me of some music from Star Wars. I can't put my finger on exactly what it is, but there is something about the melody progression in the chorus of The Duelist that really does make me think of something Star Wars-y. I actually know that song came out beforehand, but I don't think it came out with the music video, so I didn't check it out prior to the album's release. But anyway, that leads us on to I, the Emperor, which is the song they decided to release a music video for with the actual full release of this album. And so I thought, let's jump in and watch, because they're usually pretty fun. They're comparatively high budget. They're usually quite camp, but they go from being like, you know, let's all swing swords in a field with like, you know, like 50 extras to let's like hire out a museum and actually have some quite high budget sort of costumes and stuff going on. So I'm always here for a Sabaton music video. I hope you guys are too, because let's jump in and listen through Emperor Eye. I love how they're just all chilling in an English pub. It's like so English. Look at these extras in the background. Like the guy who's playing the landlord. I like the feeling he was born with that moustache. And it's just the guys from Sabaton being around this bar is like, it's really funny. I don't know what his name is, but the guy with the sort of still silvery hair, the guitarist, is just so like epic looking. Even though I have noticed I think he's quite short. But that's besides the point. They just look so out of place in this setting. It's hilarious.
Hello, boys! Ready to get your asses kicked?
All right, guys, let's make sure that history prevails again.
Oh, it's so earnestly endearing. I think it's something about a Swedish accent too I find to be appealing. It's just like, I don't know. I mean, it's like porn level acting, but that's not the point. It's just fun. I like how he's just turning up with a fucking Napoleon hat. It's like, hey guys, let's get drunk and talk about Napoleon.
Hooray! Hooray!
Hooray!
The room at the back's ready for you guys.
Okay. Wonder why they filmed this in England. Oh, well, I guess. Oh, wait. There's a couple of things in there I recognized. I guess it makes sense, actually, for it to be in... You're either going to film this one in England or France, right, if you want it to be appropriate. But what did I see there? No, wait, go back. Interesting. I just think it's super interesting that right front and center in the middle of this is a Warhammer Age of Sigmar battle box, and directly above that is a Space Marine Codex, and to the left of that is a Tyranid. I think I can tell. I'm so sorry for going down the Warhammer rabbit hole, but I just wasn't expecting to see them. It's, I guess this is the War Room, is where they go and play all their board games, and there's also Ninjago for some reason, and Hero Quest. But yeah, I enjoy that Age of Sigmar is front and center. The guys in Sabaton strike me as the people that maybe perhaps like Warhammer 2, which makes me like them more. Ah. And also assigned ADCs. Oh, they're actually gonna... Okay. All right, I like this as a concept. They're actually gonna play a board game. It's almost like totally at odds with how cool and epic this song is, because that is it's a very chunky, slow, meaningful riff there, right? The dong da dong da 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 dong, with the, you know, again, very, very like present backing vocals. So they must have got a choir in for some session days to do a lot of the backing stuff for this, and again highlighted with that synth line. It's a very, very power metal trope that you have that synth line lined up with something vocally, but it's just so at odds with what I'm seeing. I love it, I really do. Get the vino out. I'm sorry. The delivery is amazing. I do quite like how the song actually really gives itself a lot of time to sort of like space to drop out. Everything but the bass and the drums have now dropped out, and Sabaton can have a very, very thick sound, and it's almost kind of conversational. And when I listened to this song, I was like, I imagine he is singing from the perspective of Napoleon, which I imagine is probably the actual meaning of this song. But I very much like that they've repurposed it for he's like, I guess, playing the role of Napoleon in this tabletop game. And then it's just thickened out so much for the second half. These guitars have kicked the back in. The backing vocals from that big choral thing are way back. God, it's like 80% of the vocals in this have got a mirrored like chorus behind them. But it's nice. It's a nice level of like sort of escalation as he gets a little bit more epic, and it's hopefully going to build up into what I seem to remember being a fairly kind of like big feeling chorus, which, yeah, again, would not surprise based on the band. See, that's kind of interesting, actually, because the texture didn't really change at all coming into this. I'm pretty sure this is the chorus. The chorus, right? So it's kind of interesting that he's... you've got this nice little drop out for a second, but actually the melody has changed, and the synth is, again, doing that thing where it just kind of mirrors it. But, yeah, I don't know. The lyrics are, like, endearingly not natively English, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know. They are... I was gonna say borderline inappropriate. It's a really weird line to fall down, because, you know, realistically, Napoleon was a pretty evil bastard who is responsible for quite a lot of people dying. A while ago now, you know, some would say it's been enough time, we can now poke fun. Of course you can. But, I don't know, singing from his perspective is very literal. It's like, I will take your land because I'm a bastard. But, you know, whatever. It's definitely not meant to be like that. It's kind of poking fun. But just all this putting it together with the setting for the music video, which I really, really was not expecting, has kind of thrown it into question just a little bit, maybe? Nice. Yeah, I like that little bit. The little drop out that I will brum ta ta. You get that little drop out and let the drums just do a tiny little fill there. But it definitely, I feel like otherwise this chorus is bordering or maybe a bit repetitive. Just a dung 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 da dung. I know it's more about the lyrics, but that exact melody has repeated itself quite a few times at this point. Damn. See, I really like the development in this verse here. You've got that lead guitar line being played in the right pan there. That's definitely a requirement for some progression here. It's kind of like anchoring it and giving it a reason to progress other than just more lyrical content, right? Yeah, I really like those fills there. And this little like overdubs there as well, just that harmony that came in is just really, the production on it is just so tight. But you know what, I actually think I find the verses of this song to be more compelling than the choruses. You see what I mean? I feel like this song is actually quite indicative of how this album itself compares to sort of other Sabaton material. It feels like the whole thing's like a little bit more measured and thought out. And I think maybe because, again, as opposed to something like The Great War or any of the other ones where they have to try and they kind of set the world scene, right? And then each song is much more specific. But in this one, because they've only got one song to do all of it, it just feels like a little bit more exposition-y. They're doing far more to like specifically tell you about these characters because they've only got one song for it. And yeah, I don't know whether or not I think that's a good thing or not. Ah, he's got a sword down. Oh shit. Again, this is like very, very thematic. I like the sort of like everything's dropping out again thing where he's just kind of like, it almost feels like Les Mis or something like that. Les Mis with heavy metal guitars, you know? Nice little dueling guitar solo here, but again, all very understated. Like, we know that the guitarists in Sabaton can really, really shred when they want to, but they're doing quite a lot of sort of measured thoughts about it rather than just like, which is often what they do. Ah, see, that's a nice little mechanic there. They have this, like, dropout that they've established a couple of times already when they're going out from the verses into the chorus. Little dropout and then a little drum fall. And this time you've got a double version of it where he does a slight more epic, larger vocal ad-lib in there, which is nice. It builds up more suspense of that final big chorus. Okay. That's quite a nice mechanic again, because this chorus is wearing on me just a little bit. I am finding it a bit repetitive, but at least in this version of it, we've got the double chorus, which I was about to roll my eyes and go, oh, same again. But no, actually the drums have dropped out and they're going for just an offbeat tom hit now to again kind of give this sort of like epic end of the song kind of feel to it. I wonder, to be fair, we might have another full chorus yet. That's a hilarious plot twist. It's just like, he wins the battle on the tabletop, and now we're living in a future where everyone's run by France. Victory for the French. Interesting. Yeah, I feel like actually the drummer was low-key the hero of that song. I think he did quite a lot of work to try and make what could otherwise be quite repetitive melodically sort of have some level of distinction to it. But I guess we've got an outro as well.
If you would have done that you were supposed to, we wouldn't have lost it.
Back out of the games room in the local British pub that definitely wouldn't get you like heckled on the way out.
Chris, if you would have...
Yeah, but the reason is we should have won. We should have won. Historically, we won.
Oh, wait a second.
British.
That's quite cool.
I think if you would have done as I should have
Excusez-moi. And I like how there has to be a beret in the background.
Désolé.
Petit France. That's fucking hilarious. That music video was extremely charming. I was not expecting it to take that turn at all. The twist at the end where he wins the battle and just like changes history. He's like so passionate about it that now literally Napoleon's won and they come back out into a French bar, I guess. Great. That was really funny. Just that little camp shot at the end of his little face grinning into the camera. Yeah, what a shot. That is definitely going to be my thumbnail for this. This is fantastic. Yeah, the song, not my favorite on the album, not by a long shot, if I'm honest. If you go to kind of like full album look through here, I'd say Hordes of the Khan is better. I would say that Impaler's pretty good. I would definitely recommend giving Impaler a chance. That one's kind of more moody and weird, which I guess makes sense because it's about a more horrific topic, one could say. And also definitely The Duelist. Those are my picks. I think the album is very strong. I like the sort of more narrative aspect of it. I like how it feels more thought out than some of them in terms of kind of like pacing out how bombastic aspects of it are going to be, at least. So that aspect of it I really, really like. It is a great album. It's definitely not my favorite Sabaton, but that's a fairly high bar to hit. These guys are great. The music videos have been mostly pretty fun. I just like that we have, a big enough and eclectic enough music scene nowadays. A band like this, which is like, it's so nerdy. Like at the end of the day, it's so nerdy, and I love that about it. I am a huge nerd, if you couldn't tell by the fact that the second I saw the Warhammer logo in the background of a music video, I paused and lost my mind for a second. So, that stuff is right up my alleyway. I think that they've managed to carve themselves out a rather unique sort of like niche within what could be otherwise considered a fairly crowded genre with the power metal stuff. So I really like that. I've heard that their live shows are really fun. I really want to go and see them. They were doing some shows in the UK with a full symphonic orchestra, which sounds awesome. And in fact, I even know that they have people coming out to play various characters that are being sung about in these songs, which is also fun. It sounds like a great spectacle. I'd love to see it. In fact, anyone who has seen Sabaton live, in the comments, let me know down there. Give me your opinions. I'd love to hear them. But yeah, anyway, waffle over. Not quite an album review, not quite a reaction. It's just me talking about Sabaton for probably far too long. But anyway, thank you very much for listening. Like, share, subscribe, all that crazy stuff. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace!